All right, Gabby. What are your 2 truths and a lie?
Okay, my 2 truths and a lie. I have squatted 425 pounds. I killed a bear with a lever action rifle, and I've skydived.
Wow.
I'm going to go with the bear. Bear's not real.
Man, I'm going to go with skydived.
The bear is not real.
Oh, dang.
It's actually my husband's dream, and I was telling him that I had to come up with a lie. And so I told him I was going to say I auditioned for American Idol. He's like, no, that's dumb. Say this. And I was like, okay. And then I was practicing. I was like, lever action rifle. And I could not get the words out. And I'm actually really impressed that I did as well as I did.
Yeah, it
so,
was pretty
cool.
flawless. Yeah.
That's
It
awesome.
was good.
So you've been skydiving before then?
Yes, just once.
Just once? Here in Idaho or in Oregon?
It was in California, in
Okay.
Lodi. Actually, 2 weeks after I did it there, someone died.
whoa.
So, yeah, that's sketchy. But it was my 25th birthday, and my boyfriend at the time, we had the same birthday, and that was his gift to us, was going skydiving.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have to ask, though, when you first stepped out of the airplane, what did you think?
I hope my parachute opened. Like, I was
That's
so
always
scared.
fair.
Because you get strapped to someone. Like, I had some foreign guys strapped to my butt, and I was like, oh my gosh, kind of having like a panic attack. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do this. And he's like, it's okay. All you got to do is jump, and then Google Maps. That's just what it looks like. So I did it, and then I was like, okay, is the chute gonna open? Is it gonna open? Once it opened, then it was fine. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I want to do that again. But I haven't. I don't think I will now either.
I think I'm going to remember that forever.
Yeah.
Like, once you jump out, Google Maps.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
I
that was like
remember.
inseared
Yeah.
in my brain after doing it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, it was cool.
That's amazing. Good morning. It's season 3 of GI and a Cup of Joe. Thank you all for making seasons 1 and 2 a huge success. Again, I'm your co-host, Annie T.
And I am Justin C. It's pretty badass to hear all these stories of how everyday regular people with everyday regular struggles took a chance to better themselves with the opportunities in the Idaho Army National Guard.
And they didn't just do it for themselves, they did it for their families, future, past, and present. Officially, I'm Sergeant First Class Annie Torres.
And I am Command Sergeant Major Justin Cole. We encourage everyone listening to dress right dress.
Which is like, share, and subscribe.
Enjoy Season 3.
Today we're talking to officially, she's Sergeant Gabby Herding, but honestly, she's just Gabby. Let's go back to high school. Where did you go to high school and what kind of student were you?
I grew up in Eugene, Oregon. So I went to, I graduated from Sheldon High School. And then I actually went to Thurston High School my first 2 years in Springfield, Oregon. And then we moved, so I transferred schools. I was an okay student. I just got by.
Yeah.
I liked sports. That was really my big thing was sports. And I went to school to play sports.
What'd you play?
Yeah.
I started out in basketball, volleyball, and softball. And then after my freshman year, I moved over into track and field.
Wow.
What'd you do in track?
Javelin, shot, high jump, pole vault, hurdles. Is that everything I did? I did a lot in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
you
like it.
did.
Yeah, I was not one of the people just sitting around. I was doing pretty much every single event because I wasn't amazing at any of them, but I could score points. So that's really all you look for when you're doing track and field is scoring those extra points.
What about subjects in school? What were your favorite subjects? Sports doesn't count.
I would say PE. I love PE. I really liked literature and writing. I enjoy writing. Math was a no-go for me. And I didn't really like history. Yeah, mostly I think just literature was a big thing. And I was in choir, so that took up a big part of my life too.
Right on.
But not band.
No, not band.
Okay.
We needed a choir person.
Yeah.
I always
Gotta
wanted to
ask.
learn how to play piano, but we just couldn't afford like lessons and stuff when I was younger, so I didn't. But I got to sing. It was
That's
fun.
fair.
Nice.
So back to your senior year, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I actually enlisted in active duty Army when I was 17. My birthday's in the summer, so I was in the DEP program. And then my stepdad, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be an MP. And then now with my experience in the Army, I'm glad I didn't become an MP. So I enlisted active duty Army. And then it got closer to my ship date and my stepdad was like, please don't do it. the military is not a great place for women right now. He served 28 years in active duty Army. So he was like, please don't. And like, I took that as a sign. So I decided, I told my recruiter I didn't want to do it. And they tried to talk me into it. We'll give you $50,000, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, so I just said I wasn't going, and I don't know, it's not actually a discharge, but it's just.
Yeah, well, they call it a DEP discharge, but when you're in the DEP,
okay.
it's not like us, like your service doesn't start.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's, if you don't show up active duty Army, it's like, oh, well, we can't really do anything.
Yeah, they can't do anything, but they really tried to make me feel like they could do something.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I just didn't go. And yeah.
So where'd life take you?
Oh gosh. My journey, like right after high school, kind of was weird. I started working at a gym because I liked PE. So I was like, yeah, work at a gym. Cool. I worked at actually a gym at Macy's and at one other place, but I think Sears. Yeah, I was working at Sears still. So I was working 3 different jobs, just making ends meet. I moved out of my house and everything. And I became a personal trainer at the gym that I worked at, and was able to quit my other jobs because I was making enough as a personal trainer. I did that for 2.5 years. And then I talked to the head coach at Lane Community College and was asking about if I could come do track for him. Coach O'Connor, it was the best coach I've ever had. Well, one of the best coaches I've ever had. And he's like, can you run? I'm like, I guess if I have to. I had been running. I was doing like 6 miles, but like a day, but it was like 10, 11-minute miles. It was kind of leisurely running. And he's like, well, if you fill this spot on our cross country team, you can be on the track team, and we'll even give you scholarship for it. And I was like, okay, cool. I got the most improved award. That's how bad I was. So then I started college at Lane Community College, did my 2 years there. And then I actually wanted to be a physical therapist assistant, didn't get into the program, excelled in Javelin, and got some offers from universities to throw for them. So it was like, I had this path, and then I was like, well, this would be cool to do if I got a 4-year degree. And so that's what I chose to do. And went to college, met my husband, and yeah, now I'm here.
So how did you get to the Guard from that?
So we moved from Fresno, California, back to Klamath Falls, Oregon. My husband got a job right out of college. I did not. I was working as a trainer still and not using my degree or anything. And then I started a marketing assistant job, making $12 an hour with a bachelor's degree. And it wasn't enough. So I was making probably about $700 a paycheck, which when you want to start a family and everything, that's not enough. And I actually went to talk to the Air Guard about joining because I lived in an Air Guard town. And kind of was gung-ho about it. I'm like, yes, let's do it. And with my bachelor's degree, I'm like, I want to be an officer. That's how you be a leader in the military, is you'd be an officer, right? So I was like dead set on becoming an officer. They're like, no, we don't do officer candidates. Everyone in the Air Force has a bachelor's degree, so we don't really care about your bachelor's degree. You can be a mechanic. And I was like, okay, no, that's not what I want to do. So I had a friend who had just enlisted as an officer candidate into the Army National Guard. She's like, hey, we have an appointment with the recruiter in his office at this time on this day. You're coming with me. And I was like, okay, cool. Went there, and he pretty much was like, yeah, you can do exactly what you want to do with us as an officer candidate. You can go. We got student loan repayment, which was huge because they were wanting $600 a month, and I was making $700 a paycheck. So wasn't much. So yeah, that's, I actually went to MEPS for the Air Guard. I got disqualified for astigmatism, and then they took a really long time to actually get me, scheduled. Actually, they didn't schedule me. It had been 2 months, and I was still waiting for a consult for my eyes. And I'm like, okay, I'm old. I was 27. Like, I'm old. I want to get this over with. I'm ready. And then they're like, well, it could still take some time. So that's when I met with the Army recruiter, and he's like, astigmatism? That's easy. Like, pulled me over, and within a week I had my consult. Within another week I enlisted, And then 3 weeks later, I left for basic. It's really fast.
Wow.
Wow.
That is fast.
Yeah. I had a bachelorette party to be back for in July. So I was like, let's go.
Wow. So what job did you choose when you finally joined?
Officer candidate. So
Oh, okay.
I only went to basic training. And then my journey to a recruiter is a whole, like, you'd have to do a whole nother podcast on how, like, becoming an actual recruiter came about as well.
Well, go back to your personal training stories, though. Did you ever do any competitions? Compete?
Well, we did like what you mean,
Like bodybuilding or bikini competitions
no,
or
I've done
anything
some
like that?
CrossFit competitions.
Okay.
I always did it as a team, so I think we got second one year and then third another year in teams.
And you did
of
that
three.
like all through college?
Well, in college, I threw the javelin.
Okay.
Yeah, javelin, shot, and hammer. So all through college, I was doing stuff competitively, and then after college, I went into CrossFit doing
Right
workouts
on.
like that.
That's cool.
You still do CrossFit workouts?
Yeah, I actually did one before I came here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I have been working through the program. It's called street parking. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
So the biggest thing is like making it simple. After having a kid, whoop, I'm gonna break things. After having a kid, like finding that balance, because I love working out. It's a love-hate relationship. I love doing that, but finding that balance of, oh, well, that's time I'm taking away from my son. Like, maybe I don't want to do that. Plus, when we moved here, I didn't have a gym. I live not in the middle of nowhere, but I live pretty far from stuff. And the gym that was nearby, I didn't like. So we just built our own home gym. But it's all about being simple movements, simple CrossFit movements that you can do with limited stuff. And I'm loving it so far. So doing that and being a mom.
That keeps you busy.
Yeah. 100%. And he's on the go. He's 16 months old now.
So you joined the Oregon Army National Guard for student loan repayment?
Yes.
Did I hear that right?
Yep. That was the big driver, was the student loan repayment. I didn't know what else it would give me, which it's given me a lot. So
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How much of your personal story do you tell applicants when they come in?
Oh, a lot.
A lot?
A lot. If I could go back in time, I wish I would have joined when I was younger. Funny story. The recruiter for my high school was actually my NCOIC, like when I first got into recruiting. So back in the day when I was in high school, that was her high school that she was assigned to. And I joked with her. I'm like, you failed me. I could have 12 years time in service already, not 5. Like, what happened? How'd you miss me? And I think I didn't really understand that there was another option. I thought it was active duty or nothing. I didn't even know about the reserves back then. So yeah, the student loan repayment was huge. And I tell people about it and I'm like, they want that money back. And they want it back in large chunks. So I talk about that, talk about how I took a break after high school to kind of figure out really what I wanted to do. And I'm still not doing what I thought I was going to do. Maybe I'll get there eventually. I want to own a gym. That would be ideal, is owning a gym. But we're still working. We have a garage gym now, so I guess that's a start.
Yeah,
That
it's a
is a
step in the
start.
right direction.
Yeah.
That is
Right?
a start.
What has been your greatest accomplishment to date?
I actually have been thinking about this. I don't know, coming from a family that didn't really have a lot. Financially, my husband and we're not well off, but we provide very well for ourselves and for our son. And that was something when I was young. I had to watch my mom struggle a lot, making ends meet. She was a single mom with all of us. And like, you see those things. And when I was growing up, I'm like, I never want my children to watch me like struggle like that financially. And also I don't want them to want for things. So like, I wanted to do piano lessons and we couldn't afford it. And I was like, well, that would be really cool, but it's not a necessity. So like, just being financially where we are just in 5 years, because it really, we weren't where we are now 5 years ago.
Sure.
So and I don't know if it sounds superficial, but it's just something that means a lot to me is the fact that we are financially stable. And if we want to have another child, we're not going to be like, oh no, well, how are we going to support that one and everything? So
I think that's a great accomplishment.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's life. Like winning at life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels pretty good.
It's not superficial.
Yeah.
And how old's your son now?
16 months.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
What's it like for you being a mom in the military?
Honestly, it's been really easy.
Yeah.
I know that's not the case for other people in other commands, but in both in Oregon and since I've come over to Idaho, everyone's just been super, like, we all have families.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like and I'm in all these forums for like active duty on Facebook, and I just see just some of the leadership and how horrible they are to like new moms and just new parents in general. And I'm like, gosh, I'm really glad that I haven't had to deal with that. But my experience as a mom, plus with like the parental leave, is amazing. If something comes up with my son, it's not like, well, you better figure it out, find someone, or it's like, okay, take care of your family, because obviously they come first.
That's what I love about the Guard.
Yeah. Like
Always family.
I'm on there's a whole Mill Twitter community, right? And, or Mill X, whatever it is now, right? Because Twitter's now X. But if you want to know how not to treat families, you go there and just read any day of the week, the given comments. Like, you're talking about like, well, you better figure it out. Yeah, it's like, what's your family care plan say? Because if it's not in the family care plan, it looks like you're going to be at work at 8 o'clock this morning. And it's just, it's ridiculous.
That's
Like
disheartening.
that leaders of probably the largest organization or corporation on the planet can't manage to figure this out. Like, but they put people first in the title.
Right.
Right. So, okay, got it. Right. Sure.
People first, unless you decide to repopulate.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not, yeah. So my experience has been super great. And I hope as I become, like I'm promoted and I'm a leader, I'm leading people, that I'm able to help them, especially new moms, because the parental leave changed. I actually didn't get that extra month, I think it is. I fell right under it, which I took a month off anyways because I had enough leave. But just knowing the regulation and just guiding them as they go through this, go through something. It's exciting, but it's also terrifying because you're like, well, this with work, I have to do that and everything. So, but I'm also in recruiting, so it's a little bit different of a family than when you're in a line unit.
Well, I was in a brigade unit and I had my kids, and I've said this before in a different podcast, but I had all positive experiences with my kids. Like, I could bring my babies to work, and I mean, it was just very helpful, the community that I was in.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I was worried about that too when I first became pregnant. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to choose between work or being a mom, and I can't do that, right? Mm-hmm. You have to do both. So they helped me find that work-life balance, and they allowed me, to bring my baby in and nurse right there at work, and it just worked for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you experienced that same thing.
Yeah, it's been pretty great.
Babies and animals, those are positive. Like, how could you have a bad day at work, right, with babies and animals running around?
So, oh, yeah. Oh, my.
If you could give advice to a high school student who is stressed about their future, what would that advice be?
Just join the Guard. Just do it. Do it sooner rather than later. It's better to get it over with, and the connections that you make when you're in the Guard, it can help you figure out exactly what you want to do. So if you don't have a set idea, like, I wish I would have joined the Guard, because maybe I would have gotten to where I am much sooner. And I wouldn't have had that lull of time that, I developed a lot, but also looking back, it was a lot of wasted time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I feel like the Guard really could have helped me more. So join the Guard, get that time in service. You make more money.
You're talking about CrossFit, you're talking about training, and in one of your 2 truths and a lie, you said you squatted 420 pounds. So what's your numbers?
For bench, my max is 195. That's what I got. It was actually at a CrossFit competition. I did not think I was going to be able to do it, and I did it. So I mean, that's not a lot comparatively, but I am a female. So
It is a
that
lot.
I was gonna say, yeah, it is.
I am
It's a
female.
lot.
And then I actually front squatted 425 when I was in college. Yeah.
Beast, man.
That's like vomit worthy.
Yeah. I never wear a belt. I don't like wearing belts. I think if you have to wear a belt to squat the weight, a lot of the time you probably shouldn't be squatting the weight. That was one of the only times I've ever actually used a belt, is because I was like, that's a lot of weight and I might like crush myself if I don't. So that was in college. I don't really know my current numbers, and then deadlift was 395.
Okay, those are huge
That's
numbers.
Pretty impressive.
Those are huge numbers. Like, you go ahead and add the total up, and you're like at 1,000, or just like maybe a coffee cup's like weight below 1,000. So
Yeah, I always like the feeling of feeling strong. So whenever our workouts, especially in college, were geared towards that, and once I started throwing shot and hammer, like that was the main workouts that I did. Javelin, we lifted, but it was I did a lot of explosive movements for that. So like I have a video of me doing a box jump, like where the box is like up to here.
Wow.
It's pretty high. But I still love box jumps. So anytime they're in the workout, I'm like, yes, this is great. My body, not so much, doesn't like it as much anymore. I can't like jump off of the box like I used to. Now I just step off the box because got to save the joints a little bit.
My knees hurt so bad just hearing her say that.
yeah.
God.
Yeah. Oh, and we're just going to go ahead and take note that you called out every male belt wearing squatter